Well, speaking of earnings, you've also got a Century Ply in the spotlight. Keshav Bhajanka is now joining in on the show to talk a little bit more about that. Good to have you on board. And despite this time around, the fact that we have seen, your volume price growth this time around on a year-on-year basis that has been steady, your EBITDA and CPM has declined for plywood. What is the reason for that?
Hi, good morning. Wish you a very happy festival of
Same
lights.
to you and your team.
Thank you. I think that, we have been largely in line with the guidance we had provided. In plywood, our guidance has been to 13 to 15% EBITDA margins. And we have been more or less track with about a 13.5% odd EBITDA margin. Going forward, the endeavor will be to improve this. But like I said, we are more or less in line with guidance. And this is what we are striving to achieving. To us, it is not a miss, but rather we have been largely on track.
To know. Let's also understand a little bit more then about the MDF segment. How has the import pressure there subsided? What kind of volume growth can we see in the second half?
The import pressure persists. I think that, it hasn't changed much, but we have been reasonably insulated, being a player that is predominantly in the north. And as a result of that, we have been able to maintain a good growth because the new capacity has finally come into play. And at the same time, we've been able to maintain margins. Our guidance was towards 25% EBITDA margin. And although there was an exceptional subsidy that came in on behalf of a crude power subsidy on behalf of the government of Punjab, we have been largely around the 25% EBITDA margin target that we had given. Towards the second half of the year, the growth is likely to be at 25% plus. And I think that we have been able to do well despite this import pressure playing out.
Keshav, let's address the volume growth within the plywood segment, because what we understand is that it's a little bit lower than what your peers are clocking. Why is that? And what's the plan to catch up in the coming quarters?
I think, we have been focusing on profitable growth. Growth at the sake of margins is something that we tend to avoid. And the growth that we have been achieving has been close to double-digit growth. And towards the second half of the year also, we will be looking at double-digit plus growth. As you know that the cycle isn't really too much in our favor right now. There have been a lot of new launches, but this takes a little bit of time to fructify. So I think the acceleration in volumes without a real negative impact on margins is likely to begin from next year as well. Next year at the earliest. But during the second half of the year as well, we're looking at double-digit growth, and I'm fairly confident we'll be able to deliver on the same.
Is there any specific reason that you're lagging when it comes to plywoods?
I think that, if you look at the cycle, first you have materials like cement and piping, etc., that go into construction of the building, so to speak, or the house. And then post that, our journey starts when it goes from the house to a home. So typically, because the overall inventory sold is, I think, at the lowest in the last 5 years, a lot of the old units have been exhausted. And now this new construction that has taken place, for us to feel the benefit of that is likely to be 6 to 9 months later. So I think that is the difference between us and perhaps some other industries within the building material space.
A bit of a drag. It reported a 2% year-on-year decline. Are you seeing a recovery, or will it continue to remain in a bit of a soft spot?
Sorry, could you repeat that?
The laminate segment, when can you
Yes.
see a recovery?
I think, in laminates, there are two factors that have led to this muted growth. The first being that our launches were slightly delayed. We have launched our new catalog, but that took longer than expected, and it has been launched over the course of the last 2 quarters. The benefit of that we should get within H2 itself. So I'm looking at a fairly good H2. Alongside that, the new capacity addition that we had planned to start trial production within the last quarter is likely to start trial production within this quarter. So both of these are highly positive things in the long term. When the short term, due to delays, the impact has been deferred. So from H2 onwards, you shall see a recovery, and next year should be a fairly robust year for laminates.
And also give us a sense as to what the outlook is when it comes to the laminate project at Andhra Pradesh that's expected to come on stream in Q3. What are the anticipated benefits? What kind of contribution can we see that making to your overall revenues, to your overall business?
I think, like I said, we are likely to have trial production within this month itself. And it is a highly positive sign for us because we have never been present in the larger sizes. For instance, a 10 by 4 or a 14 by 6, which are predominantly export sizes, but which have been showing robust growth for the last 2 to 3 years. So now that we are present in these, our export opportunity increases drastically. And this is going to aid to the growth of the division substantially. So I am looking forward to a strong contribution on both margins and top line growth due to the new project commencing in Andhra Pradesh.
Okay, on that note, we'll let you go. Thanks so much for taking time out and joining in.